Welcome to Board Game Binge, the place where we bring you bite-sized, bingeable board game content from across the industry. I'm your host, James Staley, and today we're chatting with Nigel Matthews, CEO of ShipQuest, the fulfillment division of GameQuest out of the UK. They're the market leader in Kickstarter fulfillment for board games across the European Union, and I've personally used them on my campaign, as have many of my colleagues. Nigel, welcome. How you doing?
Hi. Oh, great. Thank you. And thank you for having me on board. Appreciate it. So
No worries.
Always good to talk. We Brits like to talk.
Well, I got to tell you, right out of the gate, I've been excited about this particular chat for quite some time, especially since we decided to do these interviews, and it's specifically because of logistics comes up time and time again. You talk to Kickstarter Fulfillment, most people want to use some kind of a fulfillment house like yourselves, but they don't know where to start. And, a lot of my colleagues usually will say, well, have you talked about ShipQuest, or have you considered ShipQuest, or, Quartermaster in the US and so forth. So I thought it'd be great to get you on here, talk a little bit about how the logistics works, the kind of services you guys provide, and just kind of almost act as an intro for some of the people out there that are considering doing their own campaigns and are looking for ways to fulfill it. So thank you and welcome. So let's talk about ShipQuest. So what is ShipQuest in a nutshell?
So obviously, I love to smile at the excitement of talking logistics. Yay! Let's talk logistics. It's fantastic. It's if somebody talked to me about 5 years ago when we first started doing fulfillment that I would become an expert in Kickstarter project logistics, I would have gone like, really? Because I didn't have a clue, pretty much like all of you guys in terms of that side of things. So ShipQuest, a bit of background really. We started off kind of many years ago really, in terms of being an e-commerce company, and then naturally moved in because we're a very specialist board game retailer. We basically were asked or referred to by do you know what? I'll tell the story because the guy who recommended Steve Finn Games to us, or told Steve Finn to come and talk to us, and then when moved away to Australia, came back, and it's a small world. It's like how things all come back together. He now runs our board game cafe, 5 years later. So circles, lovely story. But anyway, so Steve Finn started with us, Steve Finn Games with us many years ago, and similar to you, a small kind of company, and I think he's done about 10-11 Kickstarters with us, and very much because we were very specialist. So ShipQuest became out of GamesQuest in very much its dedicated own fulfillment division, which we kind of focused on. So we like to partner with people, and you're a great example. I mean, many companies that we've worked with, and we work from the small guys to the big guys. We work. I think we're on project 20 something odd now with Simon. And it's very much about partnership, very much about, and I think this is what our success has been, is whether it's pre-Kickstarter advice about your logistics, about trying to get your logistics correctly, to when your campaign is live, we'll post on our social media because we go, hey, if I can get you 10 more backers, I ship out 10 more parcels.
Every backer helps.
It absolutely does. So so ShipQuest is all about, it's not just about logistics, it's about trying to partner with every aspect of your division, and even to the point now where we're looking at working with people in terms of trying to get distribution or some sort of distribution network as well. So almost like a turnkey solution, I like to call it. So pre-Kickstarter advice, do your logistics, and if we can help in some way in terms of after sales, then we'll do that as well. So ShipQuest in a nutshell is your logistics partner, and we're not an Amazon. We don't just go, there's your parcels, there's a label, off you go, good luck. It's not really what we're about. So and also we've developed the software as well, which is actually become an amazing bit of kit in terms of giving our customers full transparency. We boast, and rightly so, your project's going live on that day, you can literally log on into your account and you can see your orders actually being picked from that perspective. So yeah, so it's kind of all come out really from that, and it would not be fair to say that we are just a fulfillment house. Though there is obviously aspects of that. We do run rate daily business. It's very much about trying to be your logistics partner and giving you advice on where, you know, whether I say to you, your game is too heavy to just do, you know, low, you know, big fulfillment for one person. We need to work with our partners worldwide. We need to advise you where you can save your money, because the way we've structured our prices, if I ship a parcel for 10 or I ship a parcel for £20, exactly the same profit. I mean, it makes no difference. I don't work on percentages. We work on, you know, a set fee, so we can then best advise you what's the most cost-effective shipping is. So we have customers who we literally work out the shipping from the factory to localized hubs in Australia, America, Europe, Asia, and we can then work out their whole shipping plan for them, etc. So very much logistics partner. So
yeah, I think that's important. So one thing I want to mention to people that are listening is like GamesQuest, ShipQuest. Like ShipQuest is a division of GamesQuest, so often people will kind of use them interchangeably, and so just so there's no confusion out there, if someone says GamesQuest or someone says ShipQuest, we're kind of talking about the same organization, right?
Exactly the same. We are in the process of rebranding. We went through this exercise. We were going to launch this the rebrand at UK Expo, but obviously that show's been, as many others have, cancelled in this current environment. But we decided that we wanted GamesQuest to be known for retail, which is what it is, and we want ShipQuest to be known as fulfillment. And so we were in the process of separating them under one company, call it the Quest Family Group or whatever it will be, and then GamesQuest Retail, ShipQuest Fulfillment. So
excellent. And I think it was important to note too, where you said you work with partnerships with both the publishers, and I just want to say Mike Bruner just joined us, so he had a question we'll get to in a second. But you have partnerships, but you can also act as kind of a one-stop shop if needed. So for instance, on my campaign when I ran it, because our fulfillment numbers were smaller at the time, I ran the numbers between, do I use like Aetherworks out of Australia and cover New Zealand and Australia with them, and it's usually for Europe. And when I did the math, to me, it kind of, in my case anyways, it worked out best just to have you take care of everything on that side of the pond. So we had Quartermaster, Snakes and Lattes here in North America, and we had you take care of everything else. So I know you form partnerships with the other fulfillment groups as well. So I think that's pretty exciting. It's not like I get excited about logistics, but it's not like you're competing heavily against these guys. Often is cooperation, right? Because to get things to market, it involves a lot of cooperation.
Listen, we give a very strict advice. The magic number is two kilos, and then because once it goes over 2 kilos, it becomes a little bit. No, or very uncost effective. It's not become cost effective, to ship out of one location because of the cost. Now, but then also you have to then factor in the quantity. If you've got 10 parcels to go to Australia that are say 3 or 4 kilos, then it's still more cost effective to ship out of the UK, because to get those 10 parcels, from China by freight to Australia, and all the income, the administration that goes with it, it's not worth it. So as I say, we work out pre-advice in terms of or after the Kickstarter and going, well, we can work out the numbers to say what's the most cost-effective way of doing it. So, but if it's a very lightweight package, it's a deck of cards or whatever, and 1 kilo, and it can be sent untracked around the world, then generally it's more cost-effective to do it out of our one hub. So,
and one of the what Mike was saying in the chat group here is he was asking about how much involvement the publisher should have in this process, or is it more of a kind of passing the baton on to you? Going through the process myself, I think it's kind of a combination of both. You can be as involved as you want to be. I think it's great the transparency level you guys have, right? So I agree. I mean, it was crystal clear exactly when all my packages went out, who they went to. if something was still to go out, I could control all that. And even with continuous, and we'll get into this in a second, fulfillment beyond just a Kickstarter, you've got services you guys offer as well. So once somebody gets beyond Kickstarter and they still need help getting their games to different people in the marketplace, or maybe fulfilling to Amazon and so forth, it's more efficient to ship things into the country and clear it as like a half a skid or a skid or so forth, warehouse it there and redeploy, versus trying to kind of send in dribs and drabs at a time. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to your earlier question, I think that it's important that the publisher is involved, but shouldn't have to worry. I think that, don't forget, that relationship with the factory is there, and there comes a crossover moment between where we take over communicating with the factory, and then they don't have to worry. And as I say, we are a partner, so therefore once it's left that factory, they shouldn't worry about it, but they should be aware of it, because ultimately they are ultimately responsible. But 99 times out of 10, then once it leaves a factory, we're in control. So
certainly that was how it worked in my case too. You guys said, can you give me the contact info for the person shipping the goods? And I said, over to you. There you go. So for people who are kind of new to the process of fulfillment on through Europe and through the UK, and I mean Brexit, I'm sure is going to add another wrinkle in here. How does that work? So when people are bringing their games into the UK, there's a clearing process, right? There's things like VAT tax and so forth that they have to consider, especially when they're doing their upfront math. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So we would generally, so there's like a new actor or a new fulfillment actor, and so this is going right across Europe, so where you are, is that if you store products in a warehouse, wherever country that is, let's say for the UK for the moment, with an intention to sell that product while it's in that country, you need to register for VAT. However, if you pre-sold those goods prior to them arriving in the UK, you don't need to register for VAT. So we would clear those goods in on your behalf under our VAT number in order then to bring them in. So and the UK is pretty good in terms of doing importation. There's not a huge erroneous amount of costs involved in I hate to say it, but France, for example, you see a whole raft of costs, sure, in terms of importing to the country, where the UK it's fairly straightforward. So
now you still have to pay the import tax, right? So when it comes into
we'll pay it. We'll pay the import tax, and then we'll recharge that back to the publisher to pay. Yeah.
One of the benefits, I guess, for the pledgers is that then you have the peace of mind that your pledgers don't have to worry about paying tax when they get their game, right? Correct. You've kind of prepaid it. You've paid it based on the manufacturing cost, not the retail cost as well, I think, right? Is it not? It's based on the value of the goods coming from the factory.
All I can say on that is that we're not tax experts. All I will say,
I'll say it.
Is that 99% of publishers do exactly that. Yes.
Got it. I had someone else actually ask in the chat group, how easy is it to handle the shipping to India from the UK?
In terms of individual parcels or?
Fulfillment. So if you have a bunch of pledgers that have pledged from India, and is that something you guys would take care of as well? So someone could send it to ShipQuest, and you could help with that redeployment as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose it's about making sure that there are certain countries that, India, we don't have a lot of traction because there's not many backers that go to India. However, yes, we can absolutely ship to India. There are certain countries that we currently say do not ship. Russia is a nightmare, though there's potential. There's some potential light at the end of the tunnel there. Brazil is hell. We recommend you don't ship to Brazil, simply for the fact that the customs are incredibly draconian is probably the right way, where you get charged 100%, or the customer will get charged 100%, or wherever the value is, plus import fees. And if your customer in Brazil refuses to pay it, there's three options. One, it gets returned. B, it gets delivered. Or C, it gets destroyed. No matter what happens, you will be charged those fees if your customer refuses, no matter what. So we've lost thousands of pounds, and our customers have lost thousands of pounds in shipping to Brazil, because it's just a nightmare. So
I'm sure the destruction is probably actually the cheapest of those three options too.
no, it's point. We say we might as well deliver it then, because we're going to charge exactly the same.
Oh, it's the
as if
same.
it was
Okay.
being Yeah, exactly the same. Whether you destroy it or whether you return it or whether you deliver it, the DHL or FedEx, whoever carrier, will charge you. They get charged the fees, and we get charged the fees, and then we charge the customer the fees. So it just, you might as well deliver it, because it's hell. It's just hell.
So how have you guys managed through COVID? How is that? I imagine that's impacted. The UK got hit really hard, obviously,
It did.
and and our thoughts go out to the families in the UK. This has been a tough
Thank
time
you.
worldwide, certainly for your country, and I know I've experienced it because I was getting the notifications from ShipQuest as well. And can you talk a little bit about that? How you guys have been impacted?
Yeah, absolutely. Luckily, my kids have gone, because if they heard the word unprecedented one more time, I was threatened with
the new normal.
Yeah, it's always unprecedented times with that we live in. I mean, we were, as with everybody else, I think that we shut down for 3 or 4 weeks, and that was a tough decision, because obviously when you have projects, you kind of feel, go back to that partnership, you almost invested in that process with your publishers. You want to complete it. But for us, actually, we're going back to the ShipQuest, GameQuest, and then we'd launched a new distribution service as well. And normally diversity is a great thing. And if you can diversify your business and you strengthen it, it's great. But obviously, as you can imagine, in this environment, diversity was very much a weakness. And for the sake of our mental health of our staff, and obviously their physical well-being, we took the very tough decision to shut our operations down. Because a lot of people and everybody saw that Amazon was still shipping, etc. as well, and we were scratching our heads up, because we saw the degradation. I mean, we're one of the biggest or specialist Kickstarter ones, and we saw the degradation in the post office. I mean, you ship stuff to America at the minute, and surcharges were going through the roof as passenger airlines shut down. Royal Mail would come out with X amount per kilo, etc. And I can tell you now that suddenly all the Chinese post was coming in by water into the States on the west coast of America. And you're looking at, if stuff gets landed there, you're looking at 4 to 6 weeks. So we saw that degradation. So we decided to shut down and be able then to reopen in 4 weeks later with a very much a clear vision of what we wanted to do, which was very much to focus on the fulfillment aspect of the business, because obviously that's the biggest part of the business, but mostly we rely on repeat business with our fulfillment, very much so. So we needed to focus, and we could only fit so many people into the warehouse. So we can only open with limited capacity, and put in things like risk assessment in terms of cleaning and making sure people wash their hands and all of that stuff that we needed to put into place, so that our staff could then gradually start coming back in a safe as environment as we could possibly make it. And obviously, when Boris over here announced the shutdown with non-essential workers, it was almost meltdown, in terms of panic and worry and stress and I think we sat in the meeting room and went, well, should we try for more project? And we just thought, what's the sake, for the mental health of our staff, or the kudos of just pushing out one more project, with the way the post is going. So that's what we decided to do. But I know some people stayed open with a skeleton crew, but we were still open to take delivery. So, and of course, the difference between that you have that whole chain effect, where obviously China shut down and there was projects that had left before the Chinese New Year and they filtered through, and then when China opened up, we shut down, but of course everybody was working from home and China was still producing, so then we have this wave of stuff that had been delayed coming in from China. So our floors were rammed, and we luckily had warehouse partners that we could also utilize their space. But Yeah, so we've we didn't lose business. It was just all backlogged in the
Everything was
aisles and everything.
delayed.
So,
So are you
but
guys back now? You guys are back, not necessarily at full
yeah,
capacity, but you've kind of
yeah.
restarted, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we started again at the end of April. So we were shut down for 4 weeks, and now we have fully cleared the backlog of projects. So the last one that was Roxley Games with their and Free League with their big projects. So they were the kind of the last. So we are now back on absolute schedule. So where we would expect to be with the projects that are there. So we are, we still have some staff on furlough because we could only fit so many staff in the warehouse and some of the staff, but we're pretty much on the fulfillment side of the business, near enough a capacity, but not a full capacity, but not far off it. So.
And on the retail side, did you guys see a spike in demand now that people are having to stay home, really can't go anywhere? That you see like an increased demand in board games at all, or?
No, not for
really?
us personally. And the reason for that is because we didn't open up. We choose to focus on the fulfillment side of the business rather than the retail side of the business.
Got it.
So we sold what we had in stock, but we didn't then, once we reopened up, so we had some obviously stock left over, but we then focused on the fulfillment side of the business rather than the e-com side of the business. So we probably, maybe we missed out there, but we felt it was more important to focus on the fulfillment side and with our existing customers. So,
and how is Brexit impacted things, or how will it impact things moving forward for you guys? I imagine this is yet another kind of, kink in the wheel, right, so to speak.
If you could just bleep out what I'm about to say, bleep, bleep. Well, yeah. I mean, you know what? After Brexit, I was thinking to myself, we put a lot of processes in place, and we had a really good year. And we were thinking, you know what? We've invested a lot in this business, and now we're starting to see the results of it. And bang, even after Brexit, everything it comes along. So yeah, Brexit has been and is a challenge. Luckily, we're in a transition period, so there's no change in UK shipping until the end of 2020, and even then we still don't know what changes will happen, because currently the UK government and the EU are negotiating a trade deal now. We don't think that there will be custom-friendly shipping in that trade deal, but we still don't know that. It could surprise us. So we are in partnership with our carriers and another company in Germany. We'll be opening up our European hub in Germany.
Okay, wow. Okay.
So hopefully we'll have that operational in the next kind of quarter, so we'll be testing that whole scope out. So nothing would change as far as the customers still be dealing with us, still be whatever, still our software, still our customer service, etc. But we'll just have a partner doing the final pick and pack. But we've done a lot of searches in Europe to find the right partner that could do our quality and be able to provide the pricing that our customers have enjoyed. So basically the shipping plans will then change a little bit, because you can't then send all the UK parcels into Germany, because you then won't be having custom friendly out of Germany into the UK either. So and luckily, obviously, because we've become expertise in knowing how to project manage and knowing how to work with our publishers, it's just another hub. So we when we're creating our shipping plan, we'll take the EU parcels into Germany, and then we'll take the UK parcels into the UK, so that you'll have custom-friendly shipping out of the EU and custom-friendly shipping in the UK as well. So yeah, we are, I would say, fingers crossed, Brexit proof. And it could be that, what we want to be able to do, even if there is a trade deal that allows custom-friendly shipping out of the UK, that, some of our customers we know prefer to have, operations out of somebody like Germany. So we'll be able to present an option. We can give our customers options. Would you want to go out of Europe? Would you want to go out of the UK? Again, so that they have those options. So and it's all about taking the dark art away and saying, look, we're in control. So yeah.
So it'll be, for lack of a better word, seamless, I guess, for people who are used to using your services. This is just now, behind the scenes, not necessarily forward facing, but behind the scenes, we're going to kind of figure out and pre-plan. So when, and we're going to test that before that Brexit's even finalized. So it's kind of status quo for the next year, but then we'll be well ready to handle outside of the UK, and that just could be a couple different shipments coming in, right?
If it's not us, you're going to have to find a partner in Europe. So, we're doing on that. You're still going to have to have that. So you're still, luckily, because of what we're doing and planning. And bearing in mind, Seaborn is our biggest customer. Okay, they are by far our biggest customer in terms of the amount of parcels we ship them, etc. So I have to provide custom-friendly shipping for Seaborn. So therefore, I have to provide it for every one of my customers.
Sure.
In order to stay in business. Really, I mean, so therefore, you've got to be rest assured that. Whatever we do, we want you to keep coming back. Your next, so we and whoever we work with, we will be working with a particular partner. We have to provide a first-class service, and you have to have a first-class, same customer services, same software, same routes. So so nothing will change other than. For you, the publisher, nothing changed, but your parcels will ship out of 2 warehouses so that your customers will still have that custom-friendly shipping.
Awesome. Now this half hour has gone by super fast, and I always get excited when you get excited and time flies. I do want to cover off one question, combine 2 questions that were in the chat group. It seems to be a lot of interest around people listening saying, would you advise to avoid certain countries for shipping games? I think you covered some of those off with Russia and Brazil, for example. And would you recommend for very small publishers, should they try to maybe focus on certain countries to kind of, get their teeth wet, so to speak, before they kind of try to take on the whole world?
So the classic mistake that publishers, and not just new or small publishers, but even larger publishers you think know what they're doing, is that they try to be fair worldwide and offer silly shipping rates worldwide. Well, no. Ultimately, this is a business, and you've got to focus where your main markets are. The US is your biggest market. And then outside of the US, Germany and the UK are your next 2 biggest markets. Do not subsidize shipping to Malta, okay? And penalize your biggest markets, because that's not what you want to do. You want to be as aggressive as you possibly can in terms of just shipping in your major countries. So US, Germany, UK, and then below that, France, Australia, Canada, and then obviously other EU countries like Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands, etc., and they're grouped around. Understand your marketplace. Be as aggressive as your pricing as you can, because that's where those 3 countries will be 70% minimum of your revenue. So as I say, don't offer, don't group the whole of Europe together and offer one price for Europe. No, yes, for all the other countries, but make sure you focus on your key countries. So Germany, France, UK, the first 2 obviously that I mentioned as well. And don't make the mistake, because the amount of times that people come and say, oh, can you help me out? I've done free shipping worldwide. Oh my God, why did you do that? And they're one backer in far off Eastern Europe has got the same price for shipping as they've done for Germany and the UK. So and again, that's part of the partnership that we offer. If you come to us pre Kickstarter, and you agree you're going to work with us, then I will absolutely do what I'm doing here and have an online conversation with you and give you as much advice, and even look at your Kickstarter page, guide you, tell you where the successes have been and how to lay your page out in terms of logistics, and do whatever we can to support you. But going back to the Indian question, absolutely, but you might need to because of the post office or the shipping not being as good as worldwide, we would advise you to yes, you can reach the backers, but we would advise an express service such as DHL or FedEx, though more expensive. Well, the chance of the parcel getting there is 100% better.
Thanks. Well, from a personal experience, I can say that you guys are great. You're very, very responsive. So there's no issues there. You're
Thank you.
clearly professionals in what you do. You're experts in this field, and having kind of that that ear, quite frankly, reach out to say, hey, I'm not really sure about this. And you guys are very, very open about providing advice and help, and it really is about the community. So I just want to say thanks again for coming on the show. This
Pleasure.
half hour is blasted by. If somebody wants to reach out to you guys, a new publisher that's interested in your services, how best do they reach out to you? How would you like them to reach out to you?
Yeah, the website, shipquest.co.uk, or fulfillment with one L. It's the correct way of spelling it. You Yanks have taken it with two L's. One L. Fulfillment at GamesQuest, fulfillment at ShipQuest or GamesQuest.co.uk. But if you go to the website, then that's absolutely fantastic. But the kind of the last message I would say to people who may be skeptical is that every single one of my staff are board gamers. All of us are enthusiastic board gamers.
That's awesome.
We own a board game cafe. We live and breathe the hobby. So it's what we enjoy doing as well. So yeah, we're human beings and we love board games. So ultimately, that's really what counts at the end of the day. So we get you.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. I will put links, those two links you just mentioned, I will put in the chat below after this recording goes out. And once again, thank you so much for your time, Nigel. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
My pleasure, James. And thanks for inviting me on.
All right. Take care.